Welcome to Across Africa, our weekly look at stories from across the continent. This week, Nigeria is just weeks away from its general election. Incumbent President Muhammadu Buhari can't run again, and voters are hoping for change that will mean improvement. Some are already lined up with new technology being used for the polls. Also, as more Burkinabe refugees flee attacks at home by heading into Ghana, there's growing concern in Accra of a possible spillover of jihadist violence from Burkina Faso. But Ghana's early response to the risks do seem to be holding up. And Tunisians, frustrated by a stagnant economy and a lack of jobs, find new ways of doing business. Some creative and community-focused, others relying on black market networks to bring in subsidized goods from Algeria. But first up, Nigeria is gearing up for presidential elections on the 25th. In a bid to up the transparency of the exercise ahead of the big day, voters went to polling stations across the country to help electoral authorities test out a new system meant to head off vote rigging. Caroline Lamboulay tells us more.
It's meant to curb vote rigging. Over the weekend, the new system was trialed in a number of polling stations across Nigeria. Using what looks like a tablet, electoral officials identify voters through fingerprints and facial recognition. Voters in the main city, Lagos, said the system was running smoothly.
I had to go and pick my card, and when I came out, I did not spend a single minute, before I was accredited. That is a very good, score mark, on the part of INEC.
The Electoral Commission, known as INEC, will receive the results directly from each device. Barring technical glitches, the public should be able to view these results on the portal in real time.
Once the device has been configured at our head office, it will work anywhere. The only one that may have to challenge with is when we are doing the transferring of the result at the end of the day. And it's just like a mobile phone. If you cannot transfer at that section, when we move away from that particular unit, we can get network and it will work.
Nigeria has a long history of allegations of electoral fraud.
A precondition.
In 2019, opposition candidate Atiku Abubakar, who came in second, rejected the results, denouncing what he dubbed a sham election. His party accused President Muhammadu Buhari and his All Progressives Congress, the APC, of trying to alter the course of history and disenfranchise the Nigerian people by canceling and manipulating figures. The head of the European Union's observer mission flagged up serious operational shortcomings, which it said put undue burden on voters. Among these, issues with electronic voting machines, which made it difficult for many to cast their vote.
Now, even though female genital mutilation has been banned in Ivory Coast since 1998, more than a third of women in the country are thought to have undergone the practice. It's hard to establish exact figures, as talking about it is still taboo. One activist and writer, HamiTraoré, is trying to bring about an end to FGM by bringing discussions about its impact out into the open. Our correspondents report.
What comes to mind when you hear about FGM?
A room full of students holding their breath. Many see themselves in Safiatou, the main character of HamiTraoré's novel. The story is a bid to raise awareness about the dangers of female genital mutilation.
I had to live with the consequences of genital mutilation.
Female genital mutilation has been illegal in Ivory Coast since 1998, but still, an estimated 2 out of 5 girls in this room has undergone the procedure. For HamiTraoré, ending the cutting starts with breaking the taboo and openly discussing the practice.
I created this slogan, the book, as a means of raising awareness, and it allows students to relate to this struggle for themselves through letters and words.
HamiTraoré also set up an informal helpline to show callers that they're not alone in their suffering.
How are you feeling today about your mutilation?
In Ivory Coast, genitally mutilated women don't have the option of professional psychological support. HamiTraoré took it upon herself to try to fill that gap.
I mainly raise awareness about the issue, but I also refer women when they need judicial or medical help.
She often refers women to Dr. Combe, one of the few surgeons specialized in reconstructive surgery. This patient was mutilated at a young age.
This little bit right here, that's what's cut off.
Dr. Combe can offer help for some of the major risks she faces, like infection, deep bleeding, and complications at childbirth. But the underlying problem of the continued practice of FGM remains.
The big problem is awareness, not necessarily surgery. Surgery comes after the campaigning.
Ivory Coast has pledged to eradicate female genital mutilation by 2030, and activists like HamiTraoré believe this can only happen by addressing gender inequality and the need for economic development.
The Nairobi River snakes across the Kenyan capital, and it's exposed to a lot as it traverses the city. It runs through settlements with no sewage systems, is used as a dumping site for industrial waste, and is chock full of dangerous pollutants and heavy metals. The government said that it's committed to a clean-up, but has given no deadline or budget, and a dedicated commission has yet to meet.
Once pristine, it's now a sorry sight. Residential and industrial waste, in addition to sewage from nearby slums.
We were young, we could cross the river into this other estate and go have some fun out there, and then come back to the same river and just cross, you know. But right now, considering the amount of pollution that's inside this river, it's difficult for someone to cross this river barefoot. Because of the broken glasses and all that from the industries, like in the light industries and other industries out there.
Several informal settlements have cropped up around the river. Most are not connected to sewer lines. They have open trenches that lead directly into the river. This has an impact further downstream, like in this area south of the capital, where many of the vegetables that end up in Nairobi markets are grown.
Farming has been difficult. The main challenge is water. Sometimes the water is good and other times it's not. Mainly, the water is good when it rains because the river gets cleaned out, but when the rains stop, the water is salty and full of chemicals. Sometimes the yields are good and other times not so much.
The authorities have been accused of laxity and of turning a blind eye to the impact of industry. But some initiatives are bringing back hope, like in Kibera, which is known as the continent's biggest slum. Local actors have been collaborating with the authorities to construct modern toilet blocks that are connected to the sewer line.
Although Ghana's so far escaped being directly targeted by suspected jihadists, there is growing concern that it risks being drawn into instability, undermining other countries in the Gulf of Guinea. Togo, Benin and Ivory Coast have seen a rise in attacks. There's also worry about a spillover from Burkina Faso to Ghana's north. Caroline Lamberley talks us through.
Elima's town is still within eyesight. It's less than 2 kilometers away in Burkina Faso, just across the border from where she is now in northern Ghana. In December, jihadist gunmen infiltrated her town, killing 2 people. Now, many are too scared to go back.
It's my country, but now we're scared to be there. Burkina is no good anymore. People are being slaughtered like chickens. It's no good anymore.
Her children still cross over to go to school in their old town, but at night, they come back to Ghana. The authorities say the presence of these refugees has got people in Ghana worried about what could be in store for them. Thousands of people have been killed in Burkina Faso over the past years. 2 million have been displaced. The country is grappling with a jihadist insurgency which spread into the country from neighboring Mali. Now, Ghanaian officials say they're mobilizing the army, police, and immigration authorities to help control the porous border. They warn of the consequences should the violence spill over into Ghana.
If we have an insecurity like, the other countries are having, it's basically going to tear Ghana apart because Ghana is, remember, we have over 1,500 ethnic groupings and we're all knitted together and living together. So if they are able to use a particular ethnic group and they are fighting against the other groups, you can just imagine what is going to happen.
The authorities say they're not taking any chances. For now, there still hasn't been a direct attack on Ghana.
In Tunisia, a record low turnout in recent parliamentary runoff votes is a testament to growing disillusionment with politics. Many feel drained and disappointed at the lack of improvements 12 years after the revolution. Years of low growth, high unemployment and inflation continue to get worse. Our team report.
In Ghouta, in the region of Gasrine, close to the Algerian border, Bashra and Halima braved the chilly days to pick halfa. It's used for weaving traditional pieces.
We sort them out and then dry them for 15 days before we start weaving them.
In 2016, she took a course with a non-profit organization to learn how to harvest halfa as a way to generate income.
I tried many times to find work, unsuccessfully. At least with this I have something.
Tunisian unemployment stands at 20% for women. The rate for men is 13%. Wahida Saadi was one of the people behind the idea to create a cooperative of halfa artisans for unemployed women.
We can't just wait for the state to take care of us. That doesn't work. Here, everyone helps each other. It's another way of making money unique to Gasserine. We find solutions ourselves.
Here in Kalat Sannan, another border town further north, once thriving private and public businesses are struggling with rising prices. Merchants have been illegally sourcing stock across the border.
When there's inspection checks, which happens 3 or 4 days a week, of course, we can't work. We close the shop.
It's a precarious situation which offers little hope to Tunisia's disillusioned.
Well, that's it for Across Africa for now. Thanks for joining us. Do so again. Till then, take care.